What if the biggest mistakes Indians make while moving to America is not choosing the wrong visa, but choosing your strategy wrongly? Every year, thousands of Indians dream of studying, working, and eventually settling in the United States. But the American immigration system is not one single roadmap. It is a maze of different quotas, backlogs, and eligibility rules. And here is the first contradiction. Getting into the American temporary, well, it can be much easier than getting a permanent residency. A student can enter on F1 visa, a professional may qualify for the H1B visa status, and an employee for the multinational company could now potentially use the L1 transfer. But none of these automatically gives you a green card. So, if you are an Indian planning your American future, the real question is not simply how can I get into the US? Well, it is which pathway gives me the best of staying legally in the town. Let's start with one of the most common routes, the employment. The H1B is designed for specialty occupations which was widely used by the tech, engineering, and finance professionals. For many Indians, this can be the beginning of an American career. But here's a catch. An H1B visa is a temporary status. The long-term goal for many workers is an employment-based green card, and that is where the system becomes complicated. Indian applicants face significant backlogs in some of the employment-based categories just because of the annual limits on that pre-country restrictions. In other words, getting the job may be only the first battle. Getting a permanent residency can become much longer one. Now consider another popular route, education. An Indian student enters the US on F1 visa, completes a degree, and then may become eligible for an authorized employment such as the OPT. Now that creates a pathway from education to employment, but it does not guarantee an immigration ladder too. The student must maintain a legal status, follow the employment rules, and eventually find an immigration pathway that actually fits the circumstances. And well, this is where many people misunderstand the American system. A US university admission does not equal to a green card. A degree does not equal to a green card. Even a job does not automatically equal to a green card either. And then there is a family-based immigration. If an immigrant has applied for a qualifying close family relationships with a US citizen, this can sometimes become much more direct route. A US citizen can petition for a certain immediate relative, including spouse, parents, and unmarried children under the applicable rules. But simply having a relative somewhere in America, well, that's not enough. The relationship matters, the petition status matters, and the category matters. Now, what about highly successful professionals? Well, there is EB1 and EB2, which is becoming more important by time. EB2 can cover professionals with advanced degrees and exceptional eligibilities, while the certain applicants may not qualify for the national interest. And for them, there is EB1. EB1 can cover extraordinary ability individuals, outstanding professors, and researchers with certain multinational executives and managers. But the word to remember is the evidence. A strong job title alone does not make people eligible for the EB1 application. The government looks at specific legal criteria and supporting evidences. For some highly accomplished professionals, these categories can potentially provide a more attractive route. But for Indian applicants, visa availability and backlogs remain crucial. And then there is a particularly interesting route for the Indians already. Well, the Indians working for multinational companies, the L1 is the answer. An eligible employee can potentially transfer from a foreign office to related US officers on the L1 visa. Think about the strategy. Work in India, build experience, join a multinational, qualify for an internal transfer. Now move to the US and explore a long-term immigration strategy if eligible. But again, an L1 is itself not a green card. For wealthy applicants, there is EB5. Well, This is an investment based immigration pathway involving qualifying investment and job creation requirements. But this is not a shortcut for everyone. The financial commitments can be substantial. A source of funds documentation, project structure, and legal requirements all matter. So, which route is actually easiest for Indians to migrate in the US? Well, there is no universal answer for it. For a young student, the education to career route maybe makes sense. For an experienced tech professional, employment based immigration or maybe a multinational transfer may be more relevant. And for some with a qualifying international family relationship, again, the family based immigration could be the direct answer. And now let's talk about the highly accomplished researchers, entrepreneurs, professionals. Well, for them, EB1 or EB2 with the national interest waiver could now be worth investing. And for someone with substantial capital, EB5 may be an option, a good one. But there's one route that Indians should be extremely careful about: trying to turn a temporary visitor visa into an unofficial immigration strategy. The B1 and B2 visa is meant for the temporary business or tourism. Using it while secretly planning to violate its terms, well, can seriously create immigration problems for them. The same warning applies to the fake documents, fake bank statements, and fraudulent employment records, or even misleading information. Because of the American immigration, one shortcut can create a much longer road. But the bigger story is Indian migration to America is not simply about getting a visa. It is about planning several moves ahead: your education, your job, your employer, your family situation, and your immigration category. And perhaps the most important, the availability of immigrant visa when you are ready for the next step. Well, for Indians, the American dream is still possible. But the winning strategy is not to find a secret shortcut. It is understanding the system early, choosing the pathway that actually matches your profile, and staying legally compliant is actually planning in a long term. Because in the US immigration, the easiest way forward is often not the fastest route into America. It is the route that gives you the strongest legal foundation to stay there.